Wilkins, and I am the Director of Personal Correspondence at the White House. I love my job, the people I work with, and the mission of what we do. DC has really become home for me, and I'm truly proud of the life I've built so far. But before I go any further, Dr. Smith, thank you again for inviting me to speak, and thank you all for welcoming me here today. It really is truly an honor, and to be honest, I'm feeling quite sentimental about this opportunity because it was not long ago that I was sitting where you are and wondering what in the world am I going to be doing with my life. So you see, I graduated in 2012 from Tech as an emergency management degree major, immediately moved to DC because I had secured a paid internship at James Lee Witt's consulting firm, Witt O'Brien. But back then it was Witt Associates. But I, of course, knew who Mr. Witt was, but I had no intentions of working at his firm. I was actually planning to pursue my MBA following graduation from Tech until my dad told me to apply just to one internship. He had read an article in Forbes that suggested professional work experience before going back to grad school. So I thought back to a lecture I had attended here at Tech where Homeland, an alumni, was a guest speaker. At the time, she worked at Witt O'Brien in Washington, and I was very intrigued by her seemingly glamorous lifestyle and career. So I reached out to her by email. That is the first point to know. I was not emailing her about an opportunity I knew of. I simply reached out cold turkey and asked if Witt had any internship opportunities. They actually had closed the search for interns for that summer, but Lindsay went to bat for me. They came up with more money, and instead of having just one intern in the DC office, there were two of us that summer. The second point to note, alumni connections. If I had just reached out to a random firm who didn't know me or the program that I was soon to graduate from, I'm not sure the income would have been quite the same. But Lindsay knew the value of a graduate with this degree at Tech, and she was impressed by me taking the initiative to reach out. I honestly can't recall the task I was given as an intern, but I do remember I gave it my best. And because staff noticed my willingness to serve in any capacity, my summer internship was extended through the fall because an entry-level staffer had to leave for an out-of-state surgery unexpectedly. It wasn't that I was the smartest or most capable person for the job. Anyone could have done it. I had just shown them that I worked hard and that I was there. Third point, do the best with what you're given, and more opportunity will follow. Right time, right place also plays a part, and you will continue to see that theme throughout the rest of my story. I told the senior staffer whom I assisted throughout the fall that I was interested in working on Capitol Hill after my time ended at Witt. He reached out to Mr. Witt, who in turn called a guy whose name is Tom Cotton. He was running for Congress. Not long after, I received a phone call from Tom's campaign manager who asked me to volunteer at the very end of the campaign. I kind of thought volunteering meant, knocking on doors, putting up signs, but I actually drove Tom around the 4th District of Arkansas, which is terrifying. I'm a terrible driver, so thank God I'm still alive. Fourth point is work connections. Never feel weird about asking your boss or superior to be a reference, or if they ask a favor for your benefit. It does not mean you did not deserve that position or that you are not capable. Most people I know in DC are where they are today because they knew someone who vouched for them and connected them to their next opportunity. After Tom Cotton won the election, he hired me as his staff assistant in the DC office. We were on the House side for 2 years, where I was promoted to press assistant, and in 2014 we won the Senate, and I was promoted to Tom's scheduler, as I stayed for the next 2 years. Side note, for those interested in the political world, please find me after and I'll explain more on how to get involved. But basically, I volunteered on the campaign in hopes that Tom would win, and then in hopes that he would hire me. So the theme is, this is a risk, it's not a guarantee. So after 4 years with Senator Cotton, Mr. Trump won the presidential election, and I saw an opportunity to work in the White House. So I put my resume in to work on the Presidential Inauguration Committee, also known as PIC, and I was hired on the operations team. I made connections on PIC, and one of those connections introduced me to the woman who hired me at the White House a month after the president was sworn in. There were only a handful of us for the first several months of the administration in my office of correspondence who set up the office, which is now 26 staffers. The Office of Presidential Correspondence receives all the letters, emails, phone calls that the White House gets, and we are responsible for responding to those and also writing the presidential messages, which are read at events, printed in programs, and then we are also responsible for the presidential proclamations that are issued each month by the White House. I personally am responsible for handling the First Lady's correspondence, as well as personal friends and family for the president. I'm happy to take questions on my experience at the White House, but I just want to do a recap on what I hope you're taking away from what I'm saying today. Take the initiative, reach out, and be brave. Do not wait for an opportunity to fall in your lap. It's okay to get out of your comfort zone. I actually encourage it. There's nothing wrong with picking up and moving to a new city like I did. I did not mention this earlier, but DC was not glamorous and easy to adjust to. It's quite the opposite. I struggled financially and emotionally, but over time, it got better. I stayed because of the opportunities that I kept receiving, and over the years, DC became more like home. Do well with the small things. It makes an impression, and you have no idea where it could lead you. Your connections. Right now, and we've been talking about connections so much. Right now, you might just have current peer and alumni connections, but you will develop more connections through the jobs you take over the years. Your reputation is key, and I would advise you to never burn bridges. It's not only silly and immature, but it really does cheat you out in the long run. I know everyone has talked about networking today, but how do you do it well, and how do you stand apart? First of all, you have to put yourself in a situation where you meet the people that will be valuable to you. The people that might be valuable to you are not valuable to me, and so forth. If your dream is to move out of state, reach out to alumni out of state, wherever they are. And if you don't know anyone, ask. Ask your department heads. Ask your peers. You stand out by being serious about wanting a job or an internship, and you stand out by doing whatever it takes to get that. Yeah. I have not reached the end of my career, or at least I hope not. I am hoping to move from the public sector and into the private sector to, make money one day. But seriously, I'm finally working on my MBA that I thought about 6 years ago. I'm studying part-time at Johns Hopkins University, and will be finishing in the next 3 years. So I don't know what's next, but I'm excited to find out. I never predicted I would be where I am today, so only time will tell. I want to leave you with a few more thoughts. Surround yourself with people who are different from you, because this stimulates your personal growth. It forces you to define and defend your own thoughts, making them actually truly yours. Your personal growth is just as important as your professional growth, and they often feed off each other. No one wants a boss who cannot lead their team with common sense and experiences that you just can't gain from a textbook or a lecture. People value professionalism, but they also crave authenticity. So work hard, dream big, and do not think anything is out of your reach, because that's not true. So, thank you.